So in this video we are going to talk about how Indian companies should prepare themselves for DPIA. There are basic overlooking things in the Act right now. Details are awaited. So let's talk about what should we expect and what should we start preparing ourselves for. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you daily see new content on data privacy. And as I mentioned that we are going to talk about how Indian companies should get ready for conducting DPIAs. Actually, the DPDP Act says that if you have started processing anything before the DPDP Act, which is August 23, then you should do DPIA for your existing processing systems. What is this DPIA? The Data Protection Impact Assessment. A systematic approach which says I want to recheck what are the processes I am using when I am collecting, using, storing, disclosing and deleting any personal information of any user from within my working areas, right? Indian DPDP Act says it's about digital information or collected on paper but digitized later. Ideally, DPIA should be done every time you start a new process or you update your processing systems. Sensitive data, 3 months frequency. Non-sensitive, higher volume data, 6 months. So you can decide between 3 to 6 months. And routine data, at least once in a year. Good for regulators as well, and you have a lot of content on DPIA on my channel. I will tag my playlist of DPIA over here. Now, what are the international guidelines or international regulations that talk about DPIA? It is more prominently spoken about in GDPR, the European Union, right? They talk about having a very clear definition of what DPIA is. It's the Article 35-36 that defines it, and we are going to get into a few details in the next slide. Indian DPDP Act 2023, it says that it is expecting you to conduct DPIA immediately. Like I said, even if you have been processing before the Act, that is August 23, you should do DPIA of your existing processing activities. And if you are processing so before the passing of Act, then you should conduct DPIA. And the detailed rules are yet to be released, so maybe there are additional finer things that come up when the rules are getting created or finalized. Now, what about California? California says you should do a risk assessment, which may not exactly be DPIA, but you should do a risk assessment of all the personal data that you have with you. Then, what are the key elements as far as GDPR reference? And GDPR is being taken as a reference by many international regulators, even in America, Brazil and all. So it comes as a major reference point, maybe because they are the pioneer in passing the stricter regulations in terms of data privacy. So GDPR says whenever you are adding a new technology, which in Indian context, whenever you are doing a changing or updating your processing systems, in case you are tracking any individual's location or individual's behavior, especially in the large volumes or public areas, you are monitoring those public areas and how people are moving around in the public areas. You are handling sensitive data. Sensitive data includes your financials, your healthcare, your personal preferences. It includes your racial information, your religion. So any of these kind of information is being handled, processed, stored, then DPIA should be done, and being sensitive may be done every 3 months. Whenever using automated decision making systems, right? So you are doing something by automated systems. This could include AI, artificial intelligence based processing, and certain non-AI also. When you are using an IT tool to process some data, then that's also in some cases an automatic system, but AI is what is given more preference when we talk of automated decision making systems in terms of data privacy. And if you are processing children's data, then also you are expected to do a DPIA. So DPIA as per GDPR is important when you are adding or updating your technologies, tracking an individual's behavior, monitoring a public area, handling sensitive data using automated decision making, and processing children's data. Now, what are the expectations from the Indian DPDP Act? They have already spoken about DPIA. So the key areas of focus is sensitive data, consent management, where we are expected to take consent from the data subject or data principal that the data would be used for processing this way. So then accordingly people are prepared. Significant data fiduciaries, which are the companies which are processing information on a large scale, and they should be able to define the accountability of the data fiduciaries, whether significant or non-significant, but accountability of data fiduciaries when it comes to the final rules of the DPDP Act. And there should be something included about processing children's data. It's equally important in India as well. The age barrier may be different for different geographies, but then the children's data is also a sort of a important critical data for Indian citizens as well. So these are certain things that we are expecting that the DPDP Act should cover. So with readiness to the DPDP Act, especially in terms of DPIA, we should be ready with focusing on redesigning our processes. How are we handling personal data? What guidelines have we created for ourselves, or what guidelines do we understand from the top guidelines provided under the Act? We should prioritize consent management. If our systems do not have that, we should do that. If you are doing DPIA, if you are getting ready for DPDP Act, then even if your processing was prior to August 23, you should now go back and seek consent from the data principals whose information you are processing. Keep your third-party contracts updated. Your regulations and your compliance is not just yours; it includes your third parties. Embed privacy by design principles. This is a very, very important concept. I have a list of videos on this, and I will tag my playlist on privacy by design here. So you embed privacy by design principles in your system and follow them. And if you really embed them, the privacy is taken care of every time anything is being done by any of your staff members, whether it is related to internal or external data. And maybe you should also try and follow the GDPR guidelines on DPIA, so that you are prepared around the best or more concerned international regulation around DPIA. Be flexible enough that if it is different from GDPR on whatever are the changes, then you are able to adapt it accordingly. Your DPOs or your external privacy agencies should be capable of restructuring themselves if it is required when the rules come in. So that's about the readiness of Indian companies or Indians for DPIA under DPDP Act 2023. I hope you like the content of the video. Please press the bell and the like icon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.